The Book of Enoch, a mysterious text shrouded in secrecy, banned from both the Jewish and Christian canons. But why? What is it about this ancient manuscript that has triggered fear, censorship, and silence from mainstream religious institutions? In today's video, we're diving headfirst into what many call the most dangerous book never included in the Bible. You'll learn who Enoch really was, what secrets the book reveals, and why this knowledge could change everything you thought you knew about humanity's origins. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear will shake the foundations of religious history and open your mind to a forgotten dimension of truth. Subscribe, like, and share this video right now, because this is the kind of truth they don't want getting out. Let's begin. Enoch is not just a biblical footnote. He is one of the most enigmatic and spiritually charged figures in all of ancient scripture. Mentioned briefly in the book of Genesis, Enoch is said to have walked with God and was no more, for God took him. That phrase alone has sparked thousands of years of speculation. Who was this man? Why was he taken? And why was his story, so vital and so rich, buried beneath centuries of religious tradition? The lineage of Enoch is critical to understand. He was the seventh generation from Adam, the son of Jared, and the great-grandfather of Noah. That alone places him in a unique spiritual bloodline. But more than his genealogy, it's Enoch's relationship with the divine that sets him apart. According to ancient Jewish and Ethiopian texts, Enoch didn't just walk with God. He was entrusted with secrets of the heavens, visions of the future, and revelations about the origins of sin and judgment. Why is this important? Because understanding Enoch is understanding the spiritual DNA of humanity itself. His story is a bridge between the physical and the spiritual, the earthly and the heavenly. And if his writings hold any truth, then modern theology has ignored a cornerstone of divine knowledge. Think about that. One man, one manuscript, and an entire system of religious doctrine silenced it. Enoch was more than a prophet. He was described as a scribe of righteousness, a guardian of heavenly knowledge. Some traditions even suggest he was the inventor of writing itself. Imagine that. The man who recorded the first sacred texts also had his own removed from the canon. Isn't that a contradiction too massive to ignore? Who benefits from keeping Enoch silent? It is also said that Enoch became the archangel Metatron after his ascension. This transformation isn't just metaphorical, it's cosmological. We're not talking about symbolic divinity. We're talking about a literal human being transcending mortality and becoming a celestial power. What implications does that have for our understanding of life, death, and the soul? If Enoch's story is true, then every spiritual seeker, every believer, and every skeptic must confront a difficult truth. The official version of our spiritual past may not be the whole story. And if that's the case, then what else have we been misled about? This is not a fringe conspiracy. This is about reclaiming knowledge that was always meant for us. If you're already intrigued, imagine how much more there is to uncover. Stay with me. This is only the beginning. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time, because we're going deep into truths that challenge everything. The Book of Enoch begins with a warning, not to humans, but to the angels. These aren't the angels you've seen in Sunday school paintings. These are the Watchers, powerful beings sent to oversee mankind. But instead of guiding, they fell. Literally, they descended from the heavens and broke divine law. Why? Because they saw the daughters of men, and lust consumed them. These angels, led by Sem, Jaza, and Azazel, made a pact. 200 of them agreed to take human wives. They swore oaths upon Mount Hermon, sealing their fate. This act of rebellion was no small mistake. It was a cosmic betrayal, a divine scandal. The offspring of these unions? The Nephilim, giants, hybrid beings of immense size, strength, and some say, intellect. The Nephilim were not just physical threats. They were spiritual anomalies. Their presence on Earth marked a corruption so deep that it warranted divine extermination. The book of Genesis hints at this, but Enoch exposes it in full detail. The Watchers didn't just procreate with humans. They taught forbidden knowledge, metalwork, cosmetics, enchantments, astrology. These weren't random lessons. They were tools of control, war, and seduction. Azazel taught men to forge weapons. He introduced warfare. Others taught the use of antimony, the beautifying of the eyelids, vanity, and seduction. Some revealed the movement of the stars and the secrets of the cosmos, knowledge meant only for heaven. In doing so, they corrupted mankind from the inside out. Civilization advanced, but morality crumbled. Now pause and think. Why would any religious institution want this story in their sacred texts? It challenges the very nature of good and evil. It introduces beings who rival divine authority. It gives mankind a reason to question the origin of their knowledge, their leaders, their myths. And perhaps most dangerously, it makes you wonder, are the Watchers still watching? When divine judgment comes, it's swift. God commands the archangels to act. Michael binds the Watchers. Raphael cast Azazel into darkness, and Uriel is sent to warn Noah. That's right. The flood wasn't just to cleanse sin. It was a divine reset to eliminate the Nephilim. But here's the question. If Enoch's version is true, why hasn't it been taught for generations? We are not just uncovering a lost story. We are confronting a suppressed reality, a story that rewrites what we think we know about the past, and possibly about the future. If you're still watching, you're already ahead of 99% of people. Don't stop now. In the Book of Enoch, judgment is not a vague future event. It's a calculated, preordained cosmic reckoning. This is the part religious authorities fear the most. Enoch's writings do not just reveal a judgment of mankind. They reveal a judgment of angels, kings, and spiritual forces alike. No one escapes. And it begins with the command to warn Noah. Uriel, one of the highest archangels, is dispatched by God to deliver a critical message. The earth is to be destroyed. A great flood will come. But Noah must be spared, not just for his righteousness, but to preserve the future of humanity. The flood, then, is more than a natural disaster. It is divine surgery, a surgical purge of all that was corrupted by the Watchers. Why Noah? Why was he chosen? The Book of Enoch hints that Noah himself may have had celestial blood. It describes his birth with glowing skin and eyes like the sun. His father, alarmed, seeks the wisdom of Enoch to understand what it means. Some interpretations suggest that Noah, like Enoch, was more than human, a hybrid of divine purpose. Think of what this implies. The savior of humanity in the flood narrative may have carried angelic DNA. That doesn't just change the story, it shatters the paradigm. Could the divine plan always have included elements from both realms? And if Noah was chosen because of his purity, was that purity physical, spiritual, or both? In Enoch's writings, the flood is framed not only as judgment, but as mercy. Mercy for the earth. Mercy for future generations. It wipes out the Nephilim, imprisons the Watchers, and resets the clock. But some say the knowledge of the Watchers didn't vanish. It survived, hidden in symbols, mystery schools, or even in elite bloodlines. And what about the parallels with modern theories? Ancient aliens, hybrid species, forbidden knowledge that pushes civilization forward unnaturally. These themes are echoed in Enoch's narrative long before they were conspiracy theories. The question is not whether they are true. The question is, why do so many ancient texts tell the same story? If this is your first time hearing this, you're not alone. But now that you know, you can't unknow. Share this video. Let others hear the full story. Because the truth is no longer buried. It's rising. One of the most fascinating parts of the Book of Enoch is its depiction of the cosmos. Enoch claims to have been taken through multiple heavens, guided by angels, and shown the architecture of the universe itself. We're not talking about poetic imagery. We're talking about detailed maps, calendars, and systems of movement that resemble advanced astronomy. The astronomical book within Enoch describes a solar calendar of 364 days. Each year is divided into 4 perfect quarters of 91 days. Each season has 3 months of exactly 30 days, plus 1 transition day. This system aligns perfectly, unlike the lunar-based calendar that came later. And Enoch says he was taught this directly by Uriel, a heavenly messenger. Why does this matter? Because it implies that ancient humanity may have had access to scientific knowledge that was divine in origin. Knowledge that modern astronomers didn't rediscover until millennia later. The equinoxes, solstices, planetary cycles, all described in metaphor and code. Are we looking at divine revelation or ancient science? There's more. Enoch details the movement of the sun, the moon, and the stars, including gates in the sky from which they rise and set. These aren't simple metaphors. The descriptions imply orbital mechanics, celestial pathways, interdimensional alignments. If Enoch was delusional, how did he get so much right? If he wasn't, what does that mean for our origin? These revelations were never meant to be hidden. Enoch says clearly that the knowledge is for future generations, our generation. The text even warns that the knowledge will be buried for a time, only to resurface when the world is ready. That's not coincidence, that's prophecy. And here's the kicker: the church knew. Early theologians referenced Enoch. Some advocated for its inclusion in the canon, but later it was removed, erased. Why? Because it reveals too much. It empowers too much. It takes control away from institutions and puts it back in the hands of seekers. Are you ready to reclaim that knowledge? If so, hit like, comment, "I'm awake," and keep watching. Because next, we're diving into the heart of prophecy itself. The Book of Dreams within Enoch's writings is one of the most visually symbolic and prophetically dense sections of the entire manuscript. Here, Enoch recounts vivid visions, dreams that chronicle the entire history of humanity, from Adam to the final judgment. But these aren't told plainly. Instead, they're encrypted in allegory, using animals as symbols of nations, leaders, angels, and humans. This technique is not just artistic, it's protective. Enoch encoded these visions because they were dangerous. Dangerous to empires, dangerous to kings, dangerous to the religious authorities who sought to control spiritual knowledge. By using symbols, he ensured the message would survive, but only be unlocked by those with eyes to see. In these dreams, white bulls represent righteous people, black bulls, the wicked. Sheep, lions, bears, eagles. Each creature represents real historical figures or events. The accuracy is staggering. Scholars have matched many of these allegories to real-world events, from the fall of Jerusalem to the rise of oppressive empires. How could Enoch foresee this? Even more mind-blowing is how the visions extend into the Maccabean revolt, events that happened long after Enoch supposedly lived. Does that mean the text was edited later? Or does it suggest that prophecy, real, divine prophecy, was at work? Either way, it challenges every linear view of history. The Book of Dreams isn't just history, it's a warning, a roadmap. It tells us that cycles repeat, that corruption rises, that divine judgment always returns, but so does the light. And that's a powerful mental trigger: hope. No matter how dark the age, there is always redemption. This is where you start seeing Enoch not just as a prophet, but as a time traveler of spirit, someone given divine access to past, present, and future. A man who saw it all and tried to warn us before it was too late. If that's true, then his message is more urgent today than ever before. This knowledge isn't hidden anymore. You're hearing it now. That means you were meant to hear it, so don't keep it to yourself. Share this. Comment. Spread the truth. The Book of Enoch is not dead. It's just waking up. In one of the most cryptic yet compelling sections of the Book of Enoch, we find what scholars call the Apocalypse of Weeks. This is not a metaphorical dream. It's a structured, time-coded revelation that divides human history into 10 symbolic weeks. Each week represents a period of transformation, often beginning with a divine act and ending with judgment or renewal. 7 of these weeks represent the past, but the final 3 are about the future, our future. Enoch is essentially given a roadmap of all time, a divine timeline that reveals cycles of corruption, purification, and ultimate redemption. This isn't just ancient poetry. This is a spiritual blueprint that mirrors historical events with stunning precision. In the first weeks, we see humanity shaped, guided, and eventually corrupted. Righteous men arise, laws are given, and humanity begins to divide between those who walk in truth and those who chase after destruction. But Enoch warns, in no uncertain terms, that those who sow wickedness will not go unpunished. The 7th week ends with apostasy, a rejection of divine law, and a spiritual collapse. But what happens in the 8th, 9th, and 10th weeks is what should really shake you. These are the final days, the end of the age, where truth reemerges, judgment begins, and a new heaven and earth appear. Here's the twist. Enoch says a chosen one will arise during the final weeks, referred to as the righteous one, the elect one, the Son of Man. This figure will sit on the throne of glory, judging kings, the mighty, and the fallen angels themselves. This prophecy aligns so closely with early Christian teachings about the Messiah that it's almost impossible to ignore. Yet it was written centuries before the New Testament. What does that mean for theology? And why was this book deliberately excluded if it supports, even predicts, the very framework of Christianity? Enoch also describes how, after judgment, the righteous will dwell in a new world, one without sin, sorrow, or death. The former world will pass away, and light will replace darkness entirely. For those familiar with the Book of Revelation, the similarities are striking. But unlike Revelation, Enoch delivers his message not through obscure symbols alone, but through direct communication with divine beings, structured timelines, and vivid journeys through realms unseen. It's as if Enoch was the original prophet of the end times, and his vision has been echoing through all spiritual traditions ever since. Why is this important? Because it challenges the assumption that divine truth is only accessible through officially sanctioned texts. The Book of Enoch shows us that truth is bigger than any canon, broader than any denomination. It reminds us that divine revelation has always been present, but only those willing to seek it will find it. And perhaps that's why it was removed, because it gives power back to the individual, the seeker, the awakened soul. So now ask yourself, if someone centuries ago didn't want you to read this, doesn't that make you want to know it even more? What other truths have been buried? What other revelations have we missed? The Apocalypse of Weeks doesn't just outline time, it reveals that time itself is sacred. And if that's true, then you watching this right now is no accident. If this is hitting you deep, comment, "I see the pattern," and let me know. We're only scratching the surface. Stay with me. The Book of Enoch doesn't just mention angels. It classifies them, organizes them, and describes their missions with precision and power. There's a clear hierarchy in the heavens, with archangels like Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, and others holding specific responsibilities. Enoch was not just a passive observer. He was invited into their realms, guided through spiritual dimensions, and taught mysteries reserved only for divine emissaries. This wasn't imagination. This was initiation. And the detail in which Enoch describes angelic warfare suggests first-hand vision, not fantasy. He writes of the Watcher's fall, yes, but more than that, he writes of the divine response. Archangels pleading for Earth's redemption, chains forged in the abyss for the traitors, judgments that echo through the cosmos. This isn't symbolic language alone, it's military, it's judicial, it's the heavenly system of justice in action. The Watchers didn't just sin, they disrupted the sacred balance of realms, and heaven reacted like a kingdom under siege. Enoch's account is one of the earliest depictions of spiritual warfare, a battle not just for heaven, but for the soul of humanity. Each angel serves a function. Michael is the commander, the protector of righteousness. Raphael is the healer, often associated with binding demonic forces. Uriel is the illuminator, the teacher. And Gabriel, the messenger of power. These are not just names in a story. They are forces that govern the seen and unseen worlds. If you believe in unseen influences, if you've ever felt a presence you couldn't explain, what if Enoch is showing us who they really are? Even more compelling is that Enoch names specific angels who taught humanity dark arts. Azazel with warfare, Semjaza with sorcery, others with seduction, deception, manipulation. This knowledge wasn't just dangerous because it advanced technology. It was dangerous because it advanced corruption. It weaponized desire, vanity, and ambition. And isn't that exactly what we see today? Knowledge without wisdom, power without responsibility. So, ask yourself, is this battle over? Or are we still living in the aftermath of an ancient rebellion? If the Watchers fell once, could others still influence us? Could remnants of their knowledge still be shaping culture, politics, even religion? Enoch's warning suggests that spiritual vigilance is not optional. It's essential, because the battle is not over. It's just become invisible. This is where faith becomes action, understanding becomes awakening, and story becomes strategy. The question isn't whether angels exist. The question is, which ones are guiding you? Which ones are guiding the world? Don't just believe, discern. If this part awakened something in you, type, "The Watchers are real" in the comments. Let's keep going. Let's confront the elephant in the room. If the Book of Enoch is so powerful, so profound, and so full of divine wisdom, why was it banned? Why was it removed from the Jewish and Christian canons? Why was it declared apocryphal, dangerous, and even heretical by early religious institutions? The answer is layered: political, theological, spiritual, and possibly extraterrestrial. Yes, really, because what Enoch reveals isn't just inconvenient, it's explosive. First, understand this. Canonization was not a purely spiritual act. It was a political process. Church councils and scholars debated, edited, and compiled what they wanted believers to read. And what they didn't want them to read? That was discarded, hidden, or destroyed. The Book of Enoch was removed because it exposed too much: fallen angels, hybrid beings, advanced knowledge, and a coming judgment that bypasses institutional religion. That's threatening to any system built on control. Second, Enoch's writings undermine centralized spiritual authority. If ordinary people can access divine knowledge directly through ancient writings, they no longer depend on priests, bishops, or religious gatekeepers. That shift in power threatens the hierarchy. Enoch says clearly that God's knowledge is for all, not just the elite. That's revolutionary. Third, Enoch ties cosmic events to human history: the flood, the rise of empires, the manipulation of humanity by fallen beings. This isn't abstract theology. This is direct confrontation with forbidden history. And if true, it means much of what we've been taught is either incomplete or deliberately distorted. That's not a small issue. That's a paradigm collapse. And finally, and perhaps most controversially, Enoch's descriptions of the Watchers sound a lot like extraterrestrials, beings from the sky, descending with light, sharing advanced knowledge, taking human partners, ascending and descending between realms. Does this suggest that ancient spiritual experiences may have had a technological component, or that ancient aliens and angels might be one and the same? This is where belief meets revelation. The suppression of the Book of Enoch wasn't just an editorial decision, it was a spiritual censorship, a decision to keep humanity in the dark just a little longer. But that time is ending. You're hearing this now because you're meant to hear it. And now that you know, you can't go back. Comment "They hid the truth" if this resonated with you. We still have more to uncover. Here's something rarely discussed in religious circles: the profound link between Enoch and Jesus Christ. While the Book of Enoch predates the New Testament by centuries, it introduces themes, titles, and eschatological visions that would later become central to Christian theology. That's no accident. The title Son of Man, which Jesus frequently uses to describe himself, first appears in the Book of Enoch as a divine messianic figure destined to judge the world. Let that sink in. Enoch speaks of the elect one, the righteous one, the anointed, all titles that align with the Christ identity. He even describes this figure sitting on the throne of glory, separating the wicked from the just. Sound familiar? This is not a coincidence. This is spiritual continuity. And early Christian writers like Jude, yes, the Book of Jude, actually quote Enoch directly. That's right. It's in your Bible. So why was Enoch accepted by early Christians and rejected by later theologians? Because it blurs the line between Jewish apocalyptic literature and Christian messianic prophecy. It reveals a continuity of divine plan that predates institutional religion. It shows that God's message was never confined to one era, one culture, or one book. And that kind of spiritual freedom terrifies systems of control. The implications are massive. If Jesus was echoing Enoch, then to truly understand the message of Christ, we must understand Enoch. The visions, the warnings, the cosmic justice, the personal accountability. It reframes everything, from salvation to the second coming. And it also suggests that Enoch may have been the original prototype of divine human connection, a forerunner of the Christ energy. This realization invites a radical reevaluation of theology. What if the early church had preserved Enoch's writings? Would we understand Jesus more clearly? Would the second coming make more sense? Would prophecy feel more immediate? These are not abstract questions. They're spiritual crossroads. And here's the ultimate challenge. If Jesus validated Enoch and the church rejected Enoch, what does that tell you? About power, about fear, about what they don't want you to know. You're not just learning history, you're reclaiming your spiritual inheritance. If you're still with me, drop "I follow the righteous one" in the comments. One more part to go. Now we reach the most important question of all. What does this mean for us, right now, in this generation? The Book of Enoch was not just a relic of the past. It was a message sealed for the future. For those with ears to hear and eyes to see. For those who live in the age of information, yet are starved for truth. Enoch prophesied that his writings would be hidden, then revealed. And here we are, revealing them. This isn't just about curiosity or history. This is about awakening, about reclaiming lost wisdom, reconnecting to divine order, and realizing the full scope of human potential. The Book of Enoch shows us that spiritual warfare is real, that divine justice is coming, that no system, no power, and no deception can escape the truth forever. That message matters more now than ever. In a world flooded with lies, distractions, and superficial belief, Enoch calls us back to essence, to purity, to vigilance. He warns us of manipulation, both spiritual and technological. He reveals how fallen forces corrupt from within, and he shows us that only by walking in righteousness can we overcome. This is not just scripture. This is strategy for survival. The call to action is clear. Seek wisdom, study deeply, pray fiercely, and live as if the final judgment is already unfolding, because in many ways it is. And if you've made it this far in the video, you're not a casual viewer. You're part of the remnant, the awakened, the ones who still ask questions, who still hunger for truth no matter how buried it may be. So here's your invitation. Don't let this knowledge die with you. Share it, speak it, teach it, live it. Let the fire of Enoch burn in your soul, so that the world may see that truth was never destroyed, only hidden, waiting for the right hearts to find it again. And if you're ready to go deeper, join the community. Like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to wake up. The Book of Enoch is no longer lost. It's alive. In you, in me, in all who seek the light. Let us walk as Enoch walked, with God. The Book of Enoch is more than an ancient manuscript. It's a call to awaken, a divine message echoing through time, breaking through centuries of silence. What you've heard today isn't just history. It's prophecy. It's warning. It's truth, hidden from the eyes of the masses, but now uncovered for those with the courage to see. The fallen angels, the Nephilim, the forbidden knowledge, the celestial judgments. None of this is fiction. These are realities the world wasn't ready for, but maybe you are. If this message stirred something in you, a sense of urgency, a need for clarity, a desire to go deeper, then don't walk away unchanged. This isn't just another video. This is a line in the sand, a moment of reckoning between what you've been told and what your spirit knows is real. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to wake up. Now is your moment to respond. Inscreva-se no canal e siga Jesus. Don't just absorb this message. Live it. Walk in the light. Stand for truth even when it's uncomfortable. Read the Book of Enoch yourself. Study the scriptures. Ask questions that religion told you not to ask. Seek the face of God, not the approval of men. Because if Enoch was taken for his faithfulness, then we too must walk in righteousness, no matter the cost. I challenge you now. Don't let this be the last time you hear this voice. Engage. Comment below. Share this message with one person who is still in the dark. This is not the end. It's the beginning of a new understanding. And if you're wondering whether you're alone in this journey, you're not. We are many. We are seekers. We are warriors of light. Subscribe to the channel and stay close. There's more to be revealed. Much more. The days ahead are not easy, but they are ours to face. And with eyes open and hearts aligned, no deception can overtake the truth. If you've felt a calling today, answer it, follow it, and don't look back. My name is Oliver. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a priest. I'm just someone who couldn't ignore the silence anymore. Someone who asked questions and followed the trail until it led to something real, something raw, ancient, and sacred. I'm honored to walk this path with you. Until next time, Stay strong, stay watchful, and never stop seeking the truth. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. And you are exactly where you're supposed to be. I'll see you in the next one.